Hello everyone, we are Tom and Melissa, and we're excited to have you come sit at my table. Today, we are going to make sweet potato muffins. Now, I know sweet potato muffins are good any time of the year, but for some reason, I really think about these muffins in the fall. So let's talk about what you're going to need to make sweet potato muffins. We're going to start with 1 stick of butter. That's half a cup of butter. We're also going to need 1 1/4 cups of sugar, 2 eggs, 1 1/4 cups of mashed sweet potatoes. Now, I have used a can of sweet potatoes that I just bought at the store, but if you want to bake your own sweet potato and mash it up, that would be absolutely delicious as well. But if you're in a hurry and you want to get these made, by all means, just buy a can of sweet potatoes and mash them up. Also, we're going to need 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. We need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We need 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Just 1/4 teaspoon of each of those. We also need 1 cup of milk. And then it's optional whether you put nuts in your muffins or not, but we're using 1/4 cup of chopped pecans, and I have chopped them fine. Another optional ingredient that was in the original recipe was half a cup of raisins. Now, Melissa and I both love raisins, but we don't necessarily care for raisins in things like muffins. So we're not using the raisins today, but in the recipe that's going to be in the description box below this video, we will put raisins as an optional ingredient, just like the nuts, so you can decide whether to add the nuts and the raisins or not. That'll be up to you. Okay, we're going to start by creaming together the butter and the sugar. We're just going to put those in together and let them start mixing. And as soon as those kind of cream together for just a few seconds, we will add in our eggs. And that's looking pretty good. It doesn't take long for them to cream together. So let's put in our eggs. There goes one and the other. Now, let's add our sweet potatoes. I mentioned earlier that you could bake your own sweet potato and mash it up, and that would be really delicious. But we have a video on how to bake potatoes, our method for baking potatoes. So we will add a link to the video. And if you want to see how to bake potatoes using our method, you can just click that link. And it really doesn't matter if you're baking just a baked potato or a baked sweet potato. We use the exact same method for both of those. So I will have Melissa add a link to that. All right, now we're going to add in the flour. We will add the baking powder, and we're adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, And of course, cinnamon is one of those things that you can determine if you want to use it or not and how much. But I just think the cinnamon really does help these sweet potatoes. So I would suggest you try it at least the first time you make them. Give it a chance. 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Melissa is a much bigger fan of cinnamon than am I. I like it in foods, okay, but I'm not crazy about the smell of cinnamon. But now, I do cook with it quite a bit. So in goes our 1 cup of milk. And we're going to save our nuts to stir in right at the end. I need my shield, hang on. I should have had that out. It doesn't necessarily keep us from having any spills, but it does kind of minimize it. There. Okay, now we can remove that. That is mixed up pretty well. Let's take the shield off and scrape down our paddle just a little bit. We want to make sure that's mixed up really well. We don't want to leave big chunks of anything in there. So we'll just scrape it off and scrape the edges of the bowl. Sorry, I guess I got my arm right in front of the camera, didn't I?
That's okay.
Part of my left-handedness. Okay, let's give it another little go around to make sure all that gets mixed up well. Then we'll fold in our nuts. And a little bit of flour, but okay, that should be good. Now let's take off our paddle and get as much off as we can. We don't want to waste that. Probably almost salvage a whole muffin off this beater. I really do like this scraper beater. It does do a good job cleaning the sides of the bowl. I don't like to waste anything. So, all right. Can you see it? And now we're just going to fold in the nuts. Now we are using 1.5 inch muffin tins. I guess you could call them mini muffins. And we're going to fill these about 2/3 full. So I'm just going to use my scoop to scoop some into each little muffin tin. I have sprayed it even though it's a non-stick pan, just because I wanted to make sure that they did not stick. They do not stick. And you know, these are really good for breakfast. They're good for just a snack, if you want to have a snack for your kids or for you. Listen, I like them just to snack on. And because they're small, you can grab one and take off with it. So if your kids are on their way out the door to a ball game or a practice or to school, these are a good little snack. I got this recipe 31 years ago from a wonderful lady that we went to church with. Her name was Anna Barber. One of the sweetest people I have ever known. And her grandson, John, and I are still friends today. But she gave me this recipe and said, you know, I really think you'll like this. So I have used this recipe a lot over the years. And when I do, I always think about Anna Barber. It's a good recipe, and it's special to me because it came from her. Okay, I'm going to finish filling these muffin tins about 2/3 full. We're going to put them in a 350-degree preheated oven. We'll start looking at them around 15 minutes. I think it's probably going to take closer to 20 minutes, but we'll start watching them just to make sure. And when they're finished, we'll come back and let you see them. Our sweet potato muffins are out of the oven, and I'm just going to admit, we've already been in them, and they're delicious. You'll notice there are 3 missing right here. Melissa had 1, I had 2. They are really good. I do want to tell you something else. I went ahead and baked a second pan before we came back because I wanted to show you the difference. These right here, if you can get in here, these are much smaller, or a little bit smaller than these. You'll notice these are bigger than those. These, I filled the muffin tins about 2/3 full. These were filled completely full, up to the top. So you can see the difference in the size. The small ones took 15 minutes exactly to bake. These larger ones took 18 minutes. So you can decide whether you want to do the little tiny ones and fill them 2/3 full. They don't rise a whole lot. Or if you want to fill your little muffin tins completely full and have a little bit bigger muffin. I can't imagine any kid not loving these. You know, if you've got kids or grandkids, give them a little plate of muffins and a glass of milk. These would be delicious. You know, I was just thinking, we need to have some of these with some fruit, and that would make a great breakfast.
There's no way we can eat all these, so what are you going to do with them?
That's true. There's no way. We can't eat 48 muffins. By the way, it did make 48 muffins, and there was a little bit left over after I filled the pan twice, so you would have enough to make 48 of the larger muffins if you wanted to. These freeze really well. Every time I've ever made them, we have frozen them. So I will take these, put them on a parchment paper lined cookie sheet, and we'll put them in the freezer. Once they're frozen solid, we'll put them in Ziploc freezer bags, and we'll take them out a few at a time as we want them. All you have to do is put them out on your counter. They thaw really fast. So you can put them out, and in a few minutes you can eat them, or you can just stick them in the microwave for about 10 seconds, and they're like having fresh muffins. It's a great recipe. And you know, it's a great recipe for me because I have that memory of Anna Barber, and even though she's gone, I still have a little bit of a connection to her through these muffins. So that makes it special for me.
You have to eat one. Didn't realize you didn't realize until we started this that you had already had 2.
Can't help it.
You brought me one. Just pointing that out.
Caught.
I know, just had to tease you a little bit.
Look at the inside of that. So moist. Man, that's good. I love those things. Those are like little golden nuggets. So good. Thank you for watching our video. If you would, please go right below this video and give us a thumbs up. Also, if you've not already, please click that subscribe button and a little notification bell next to it and the word all. That just subscribes you to our channel and allows you to see all of our videos every time we upload one. And we do appreciate all the kind comments. Melissa enjoys reading those, and she reads most of them to me. A lot of times while we're driving somewhere, she'll pull them up and read the comments. And it's very encouraging to read your kind words, so we do appreciate those. Right below this video, there is a description box with the title of this recipe in it. If you'll click anywhere in that box where you see the title of this recipe, that box will expand. Melissa always puts the written recipe in that box. So you can always come back and find the written recipe. And if you want to, you can even copy and paste it into a Word document and print it. And right below that is our contact information. Most of all, we want you to remember that you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.